Hello. Okay, by request, I've been asked to paint a French rooster. I'm not really sure what a French rooster looks like, so I Googled the French rooster, and I'm assuming it's this guy, almost like the same one that's used to be on cornflakes. So I drew him out. Here is my rendition of a French rooster. His legs are too thin and too small, so I'm going to make them bigger. And I decided to put with a sponge. This is the only thing I have here in Selma. I don't have my dollar store half scrunchy one and half foam one. So I'm just going to use just a plain old foam sponge that Jeff doesn't know. I kind of snitched his sponge from the kitchen. Taking my brown paint, I'm just going to take some brown and I'm just going to, this is already wet, so this is an old used canvas. I'm just going to go down with some brown and make this kind of look like a wood fence. So it's just smearing the brown. Some places are going darker than others, but it can be just one solid brown like that if you want. But I'm just going to spread this across. I'm not worried too much about what it looks like. Get it on. If I leave spots, I leave spots. But I was going to create spots anyway, so it's all good. And it's okay. I think it's okay that there's like little choppy bits inside of here from where I start with a sponge. Because it'll just look like milled wood. You know, sometimes that thing stops and starts. There's a reflection on my screen. Interesting. Maybe I'll turn the light off over my head because I think that's what it is. All right, I'm going to flip this over because I can't reach the bottom. Just go across the top all the way. Swoop it down. Swoop it down. Blend it in so it all looks like one piece of board. Now, to me, that looks like boards already. I'm going to turn this light off to see if it helps. Ah, that's even worse. Let's move. That's the direction. Oh, there we go. Now, what happens if I move the camera? So I'm in the garage. It's not really pretty in here. It's a guy living on his own. And he just puts his car in here. He doesn't really care. Okay, so that's not moving very much anymore. So if I want to, and I want to give it a little bit of a white distress bit, I'm just going to put some on the edge of this. I'll leave it a little bit thin. I don't want it to be too thick on there. I'm just going to lightly touch it with the sponge and drag it down. Just real light. See what happens when you do that? It makes it look, oops, it's okay if there's a bunch in one spot. I went too far on that. I ran out of it. Just a little bit more. Oh, I like it. We're super light, you guys. You can always go too light and then add more later. Oh, I love it. See, if it's too light, you don't see it, you can push a little harder. But you don't want to have big streaks. Doesn't it look awesome? Let me bring that nice and close to you guys. That really looks like old wood. All right, now I'm going to dry that before I carry on with the rooster because I don't want any of that brown blending into the other colors that we're going to have. Okay, that dried up pretty fast. All right, if I had chalk, I would chalk draw this out, but oh, look at that. Speak of the devil. I left a piece of chalk behind. All right, so we're going to take our shape. And if you look at this guy, it's almost like a heart shape. Okay? You see that? It's almost like a heart shape. But I'm going to start right now with this. So I'm going to go up. You're going to bend it around. And you can see my first time it was too narrow. So I made it a little wider, down to a little dip there. Leaving enough room down here for his legs and enough room up here for his head. You guys can see this. I'm going to try to move closer to you. I want to be as close to you guys as I can get. All right, bring that down just a touch so you can see the whole thing. Okay, I'm super close now. All right, so I'm going to start here because I'm going to have his head up there, starting with this shape. And with chalk, the joy of chalk is I can make all these moves all I want, and then I can just erase it. So when I get down here, I give it a little loop there. That's where his legs are going to go. So here's his really proud, bold chest. That's going to go up to his head. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to do this part. This right here. So this is going to look really funny without the head face part on it. So here's his back. So I want his back to be there. So it's going to come up here. So it's just a weird shape there. I probably should have started over farther. I need to move over farther. Joys of chalk. The shape was perfect. That's too bad. So really lightly wash that off with water. Try it again. I didn't leave enough room for that big, beautiful tail. So that was just a damp sponge, the clean side, not the side with the paint. Right? So again, start way over here, and I'm going to come over this way a bit. So come around. It's going to take up this whole painting. Come down. Big, bold chest. Leave room for his head. Maybe that's too high. Come down here. So there's your line. Big, bold up to there. Right, so his chest comes here. And then, so there's the one side here. And this side comes up to the other side of the heart. And it's got a little curve here. And that's just going to free fall down like that. So I've got this curve here, and a big swoop up the tail. You can always go a little higher if you want, but there's a nice swoop in there. Then we'll have some more stuff coming over there. But this bottom piece sort of comes up, and it's almost like a heart shape. And then we'll have feathers coming down through there. Oh, the head! I started with this piece right here, which gave me the perspective for the rest of it. So it's just kind of an oval right there on his face. And I gave him like a little pocket there for this part. And then it came out and it went around there, which led to all the little shapes on the comb. Third one. And then there was a roundish piece that came back to the head, and it just sort of blended in there. So that's got a nice rounded piece to it. That's going to all be red. And his beak, I kind of went crazy with his beak, but it went up that way. Not quite sure what to do with the eye yet. I'll wait till I've got it painted red. Basic shape of your French rooster right there. His legs are a little different. I'm going to lower this so you guys can really look at where I do the legs. You can run it off the page if you want. So there's really this one here. Comes straight down. No, it doesn't. It comes on an angle a little bit this way. Just a little bit. It has that back dew claw up here. And then one comes from, say this is 12 o'clock. You're going to go out to just about 9. So a little closer to 8 than 9. And then hooks down just a bit. They have these claws. And then from 6, from 12, you're going to go down to 7 a little bit. Little dew claw. Stop. And then right out here, we're all going back to that center part right there. That's our 12 o'clock. And then it's going to go straight out to 1 o'clock and then curve down just a tad. It's a weird looking thing. The second leg comes right out from there on an angle. Now, gotta get my damn, lost my chalk. Getting too much chalk here so you can't really see what I'm doing. Get rid of all that chalk. The chalk nonsense. Got my chalk. It doesn't come straight out. It comes down on a little bit of an angle. A little bit of an angle, but out from this part. And the end bit hangs over. That's his front claw. We'll make these thicker later. It has this weirdness. Almost kind of like a peace sign. And then that dew claw a little higher. So I'm going to go a little thicker with that, a little longer. I know it looks funny, but that's the way the picture was. So there you go. There's your rooster to start with. Now let me show you the colors that I've decided to use. Oop, back up. I'm going to back up a bit. My brushes. And my water nice and close. Okay, so I'm using the standard medium brush, round brush, big brush. I use the brown for the background of the white. That's a raw umber. If you use a burnt umber, you're going to have more of a cedar look on the back. No big deal. It'll go really nice with your rooster, actually. And get the full rooster effect there. There we go. I'm going to be using yellow, red, blue. Oh, I forgot black. Hang on. Get the black. Come on. I just used you this morning. Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. And a little bit of black. Okay, so those are the colors I'm using. I'm going to start with the white right in here. Let's just get that out of the way. I'm going to use the medium brush. We will be mixing some brown in with that too, but just going right up into, let's go around the edge so you guys can see my actual edge. And know that this doesn't go all the way down. Stop where I stop. So I'm going to stop right about here. And it can just be loose because we're going to paint it on another color and then we'll bring those feathers over top. So doesn't matter if you got lines, but this is kind of the way the feathers are going to go eventually. A little higher in the middle, a little longer here and there. Right, so just go ahead and paint that white. We'll make it look like feathers in a bit. Yeah. When I'm in Mexico, there's so many roosters. I don't know if these are French or Mexican roosters, but they're down there too, these ones. This is what the internet said French rooster was. Okay. So next color that we're going to do, let's create like a teal color. All right, so we're going to take some white over here, a little bit of blue. Let's make it sky blue. Am I doing that right? Yeah, a little bit of yellow. A little bit of yellow. It's a little bit green. I want it to be more blue than that. And I'm going to add a bit of black in it too. A little bit at a time, just so you get it right. We could just do blue and yellow. You could just do blue and yellow. Forget the white. A little more yellow. More blue than yellow. Anyway, okay, there we go. We got a color. It's a nice tealish color. See that color? I like that. So I'm just going to go over here. So this is where these ones are going to go and where they're going to kind of stop mainly. So right where it comes up here, there's going to be some orange coming in here to yellow. All this body under here is going to be the blue color too. So you're going to need quite a bit of it. Run that off the page and your feathers are going to come down on an angle. You're going to be putting a whole bunch in here. So just keep making the strokes going around like it's the big, bold feather. So all those round marks, we're going to go in with some black. This is getting the shape, those great, beautiful, long tail feathers that he has. They can start in the middle. They don't have to be full length ones. But we're slowly going to be filling this in thickly. Thick paint. Basically getting the shape of your, and they can be really long, right? We can lengthen them later. Okay, I'm going to take some black. That's a big hard chunk of black. That must have been stuck up in there. Look at this. That was stuck up the nozzle of my sponge, of my paint container. I'm going to go in with some black and just make some separation. Don't do all of it though. This will just look like some shadows. But you can see the shape. Up and over. Okay, leave that for now. Even if it doesn't look finished, we're going to let it dry. It looks funny on the screen. We're going to let it dry. This is going to look like some under. I thought I had more black than I do because of that chunk. So I'm going to go get a bit more black. Okay, so let's go in here now with this teal. Add more black to your teal. Real dark, but not completely black. Blacky blue. Grab some more blue, stick it in there. It's pretty dark right here. And I'm going to do the shape of him so you guys can see where to go with this. So you can see all that? It's going to be orange up in there. I don't want to go too far with that. Maybe up into here, the white a little bit. Cut it up into there in little bits so that it's not one solid straight line. It'll look like it went underneath. Take away half the battle of building the white wings. All right, so here we are. The white wings, the white feathers. Always pretend that you're building his body and it's round, so just keep going around with it. Just get a feel for how puffy he is. Comes around this way. And swoops a little bit on his back. Don't worry about that area right there because we don't want to be covering up the blue. We're going to be putting yellows and oranges there. It's just drying time, really. See how I'm swooping sideways? It's just going with that whole rounded effect. I can almost see how round he is. I can throw some of this darker color in the... Is that working? I got a reflection. Yeah, it doesn't really work. It doesn't really work. It's too wet. All right. Let us wash our brush off. Wash our brushes off. Put up all that color. I think I need to go white underneath the orange and white underneath the yellow. Still got lots of blue in there. Two hands are better than one. Oh, it's starting to look like a rooster. Starting to look like a rooster. Remember, don't try to get the finished effect all at once. It's layers and layers. Follow the process. Don't be too weird about it being all end project. before we're done. So I'm going to go in with the red here. Straight red. Straight red. It's okay if there's a little bit of chalk mark still there. And because the background is brown, this is giving it a nice deep red color, and I kind of like it. So don't worry about his beak. Let's just get this shape. I was going to add brown to it, but I don't really have to now. And then you can extend those shapes if you want. There you go. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, I'm going to make it orange. No, I'm not. I'm going to make a white. I'm going to go white in here and then white in here. Oh, let's dry. Let's dry so we don't bring any blue in. How about that? That's a good idea. Patience. Patience, patience. Okay, I'm going white, and the reason why I'm going white is because it's less coverage. We're using yellows and stuff. So I'm going to show you right now. First white I'm going to be doing, this will be orange tones, reds and orange. So I'm using my brush, and I'm going in this straight up and down. I'm just sort of carving around where I want it to. It's giving me these nice long lines. Right now, all this stuff that I'm doing right now is going to be orange. It's okay if you got some brown showing through, but see how I'm leaving little feathers come down? You want that. So that's orange. Then we're going to stop. And then here, this will be yellow. So it's short here, comes a little longer, it swoops sort of in front. See how it's not quite dry? I grabbed a little bit of blue. Okay, not a biggie. Wipe off your brush. Get as much of that off as you can. I'm going to bring a little bit of that yellow. It's going to come down there. So sort of where this blue bit is, that's going to be your orange. I mean your yellow. Okay. Wash that off a bit. So I'm going to dry that so that my orangey red doesn't turn into pink. Okay, so got red already on my little angle brush, so I'm going to take a little bit of red, a lot of yellow, and I'm just going to mix that loosely and start going through this white. I love it. I actually hear a rooster outside. The neighbors here have a rooster. So it's picking up on the white. Some of it's looking yellowish. It's okay if you go over a little bit into your blue. Don't worry about that. But it's picking up different tones, so it actually looks like different feathers. I'm going to go and put a whole bunch more yellow to the edge of this, just so it's more yellow than it was red before. Okay, and then we're going to transition this into the yellow. But you can see in parts where it goes over the blue and the yellow doesn't even show up, because yellow is super transparent. So even if you just make these marks and go over top of your blue, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to see it. It's transparent. It just sort of looks like a green overlay on the blue feathers here. And you can take a little bit of that yellow and go start sticking it into the orange bits, just so that it breaks that color up a little. Oh, so lovely. If you want to have more, go into your white. Even though you've got yellow on here, you can start bringing a little. Maybe you want to bring it down a little bit more. You can throw some white in right where your yellow is. That looks pretty. And have it come down a little. They all kind of hang off. Maybe a little bit of white got mixed into the orange. I know that I want a little more feather there. So back into my straight on yellow. Go over top of that. White, not all of it. Be bits and pieces with the different colors. Oh, it's just looks so good. Looks so good. This is just too blue for me. It's too blue, and I've got too much yellow and red on my my water's green. It doesn't matter. As long as you really swish, swish, swish and get all the paint that's built up in your brush. When you go to your paper towel and wipe it off, most of this red's right on the metal. But my brush part's clean, so I can move on to something else. There's a car coming in. This is Jeff coming into the garage. He forgot I was painting.
I forgot you were painting.
I know you forgot I was painting. All right, so I'm just going over that white a little bit more. Just to brighten those feathers. And now what I'm doing, I'm with my angle brush, I'm going straight in this way and I'm chopping. So straight up and down vertically, sort of chopping and making little, I can show you better here on the dark. So if I'm making a little wing motions, not too perfect. Oops, I grabbed some blue. Gotta clean the brush off if you get blue, because otherwise you're just bringing that up there. You don't want that. And remember the shape I said? It's a little higher here, a little bit lower. Nothing even, guys. A little bit higher there. Just want it to look rough, so it looks like feathers. Just too much background we're showing. Well, some background, because I was going to add brown to this anyway. So being with the background being already brown, but saved me a step. Happy little accident. My marks are actually quite, I want that to curve back in. It's not curving in enough for me. Curving in. And then this white's just going to follow suit with everything else that came around, right? So, grabbed a little yellow, came in there. Wipe off your brush. Some of it can come in, but not a whole bunch. There, see how it comes in? And these are actually curving in, and those are curving in. Everything's curving in. Love it. So, gotta go. A little bit of white and try to find some yellow that doesn't have any blue in it. Do his legs. Go over his legs. You can use a littler brush with this. You have to have white in it though. Otherwise, it's just going to go transparent. You can make it darker later. Because they should be a little more orange. And that needs to be thicker. That one comes down. Claw down. Claw down. Claw out. Claw. Alright, so we got those, but they should be a little more orange. I'm going to let those dry just a little bit. The beak. This is the part that kind of freaks me out. I want them looking up that way. So starting with just a little triangle there, it's sort of right across from this dip out here. And come in a little bit. Just do a little at a time until it looks proportional. And I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. So, with the tail being dry, I'm wondering if I could throw a little yellow in there. Yeah. It's okay just to throw a few odd colors in here, as long as they are following that whole rounded bit. I'm going to go in with the white now. Start here. Just give it a little bit of lightening so you know where it's coming from. It's just going to be lighter on top here. That's where the light mostly hit it. That rooster. Okay. This needs to be lighter. So I'm just taking some white and all that dark teal that I made with the black. If I add some white to it, it lightens it up to a coordinated color. So you can start going in and making some feather marks. So remember when I was telling you to practice doing that? That's the shape that we're making. And this way comes in here. Probably comes down a little bit on his feet. You can make it a little bit darker than that, just up to you. But I want those little curvy, all kinds of little curvy feathers. If it gets to be too light, you've really just got only all you see is the light. Go back in with some of the dark stuff and do the same thing, and it will just change it back. This chicken's looking so good. You're seeing a really bright version of it there. Darken it up. Think that's too light? Throw some more colors in there. I don't want to stand right in front of his tail, but there's a glare here for me. Okay, go in with some white because I need some breakage up. Just using the tip of my angle brush, like as if I was doing grass. It doesn't have to start all the way up and go all the way down. Just little bits, but try to make them a little longer, a little swoopier. That swoopier. I don't want it to look like there's long lines. That's my thing. And watch this. I'm going to bring some of that blue right into the orange. Oops, it's not blue. That's not blue. That is. So I can chop in with some blue, and that gives some distinction in between those feathers. I can go in with some of that dark blue and go into the yellow. And that gives some distinction. Like shadows. It breaks up in case it looked blobby. Sure, I sure love it. I think it was Jackie that suggested this one. I should have looked at some of the suggestions. You guys are blending together. It's awesome. Finally, getting some suggestions. All right. And I also put a poll out there for you guys who are not on At Home with Empty Canvas on Facebook. A poll because I've been hearing that you guys can't do all the paintings. There's not enough time. So I'm thinking I'll get rid of one of my tiers. So I'll put a poll on there. You guys can decide which one I should eliminate starting next month. Because if you're not painting them, there's no point in me making them. Just saying. Just saying. Oh, I like it. Now, do I need to make that one longer? I think so. Can't see it? What do? Add some white. Then you can go over it with the orange. There. Definitely like it. I'm not even going to put an eye on him. He's going to be an eyeless because I think if I put the eye and I put the eye in the wrong spot, jeez, that could be crazy. So I'm going to take a little bit of this reddish orange and I'm just going to highlight the comb. If you put white to highlight, you are going to end up with orange. I mean, you're going to end up with pink. So you can try that, blend that in, go back into some straight red if you don't like it, and then put a little bit more. If you want to darken it up, you can just add some brown, because you've got your brown. Brown and red makes a beautiful deep red. Brown and red. And you can just, on the bottom sides of the comb, right there, like there's a shadow in here. Messy, guys, you know me, I like to be messy. So everything's like super messy on this bird. But I do want a little more highlight on his chest. And I do want to make that orange, his beak, a little bit, because it's just too yellow. And so I've messed that up. Can put some more straight orange, straight yellow over top of that orange, and then it's going to be perfect. You all can see where that is. All right, so in here, I want that to be just a little lighter. I'm going to take some white in with that color, that stuff we keep going back and forth, dark light, dark light, dark light. So I'm going to make it lighter. A few more highlights here. Up into his feathers up here, so that it doesn't look like it's sitting. But rounded, just in this big breast part. Oh, that's pretty. Just so it looks puffier, so it's sort of C-shaped on the puffy part, so it looks even puffier there. Okay, I'm going to bring this closer so you guys can see. So there you go. See all the different textures in the tail, all the different ones. There's not one long line. There's little pieces that start in different spots, but it's all curving. Pretend you're petting. That's the best way I can describe it. Pretend you're petting as you're painting. So you're petting over his back. You're petting over his back just to give him that rounded. Here you're petting this way. You're petting him this way, his chest, you're petting him. And if you do that with your paintbrush, a close up look at how messy his face is up close. Doesn't look like anything up close. But the farther away you get, the more awesome this bird is. So that is it. That's it. Thank you so much for the suggestion. I sincerely hope that that is what you meant by a French rooster. If it's not, send me a picture of your French rooster and I'll try to recreate that one. But I love that. Thank you for the suggestion. I talk too fast. I think that's my issue. I talk too fast. So thank you for the suggestion. I do have a suggestion for a pink water lily next. So I'm going to attempt that. See you next week. If you're going to put this on social media, tag At Home with Empty Canvas on Facebook, or me, or Painting BC with Tammy, or something. Anyways, get it out there. Let's get a few more people painting so that I'm not starving all the time. Okay, love you guys. Thanks for helping me paint. See you later.